Happy Sunday, everyone. This is Hunter here at North Central Weather Center, and on this channel, we'll be doing weather forecasts on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and during the weekend if needed, especially for these bigger weather events across the country. So thank you guys so much for joining here, the North Central Weather Center forecast. If you are new to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and the like button. It certainly helps out more than you know. So let's start here this morning with our short range forecast and looking at our low temperatures across the north central states this morning on your Sunday, March 10th time frame. And you can see across the upper Midwest into the portions of the Central Plains, we are seeing those temperatures ranging from the upper teens up here into Minnesota and northern Wisconsin to the low 30s down here into Kansas and into Nebraska this morning. And looking at our weather pattern going through today, you can see a trough across the eastern U.S. that will keep our eastern viewing area pretty cool as we go through today, but a ridge across our western part of the viewing area here, especially for the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, and portions of the Midwestern states, and that will keep our temperatures warmer across our western viewing area. So looking at the maps this afternoon for your high temperatures, there's that trough, there's the cooler weather across our eastern viewing area, so places like eastern Minnesota, eastern Iowa through Wisconsin and Illinois there over into Indiana and Michigan. Those areas will likely be into the 40s, if not the 30s this afternoon for highs. Back to the west, we have that ridge starting to build across the northern and the central plains. Temperatures here from the Dakotas down into Nebraska and Kansas will be ranging from the upper 50s to as high as 70 degrees this afternoon. Now let's look at our precipitation going through the rest of this weekend on your Sunday time frame. So this is this morning. Notice double-barreled area of high pressure out to the west. We have very dry conditions, so these warmer temperatures will be coming with dry weather. So I encourage you to go out for a walk, a jog this morning, take the dog out for a walk. Lots of great weather, even going into the afternoon, seeing those drier conditions with those warmer temperatures. And then even this evening, seeing some dry weather during that time frame as well. So just a fantastic Sunday across the north central United States through the rest of this weekend. Now let's go into the mid-range forecast here and going into next week, Monday the 11th of March through the Friday the 15th time frame. And notice across our upper Midwestern regions, portions of the northern plains, we're going to be 10 to as much as 15 degrees above the norm for this time a year with our temperatures, and that means another spring warm up for us as we go through next week. So let's walk you through those high temperatures day by day here through next week, starting on the new work week here on Monday the 11th. And look at these temperatures here, ranging from the 50s across our far northern viewing area to the 60s to near 70 degree mark here across portions of the central and southern part of our viewing area on Monday. Going into Tuesday, still seeing those 60s and 50s about across portions of the United States here, including our north central United States. Then as we go into Wednesday, a cold front will start to develop across the northern plains, which will cool us off in the Dakotas, western Nebraska into the 40s and 50s. But ahead of that front, places like Iowa into eastern Nebraska, into Illinois and Missouri and portions of Kansas, those temperatures there on Wednesday midweek will be into the 60s, if not into the 70s. And looking at the Thursday time frame, so once we get to late week here on the 14th of March, there's going to be a major storm system developing across the Central Plains with a cold front associated with that, and that will start to bring our temperatures down as that cold front will sweep to the east as we go into later in the week on Friday time frame. So let's look here at Thursday. Very sharp temperature gradient likely setting up as we have a warm front stalling out across portions of the central viewing area from central Illinois back into northern Missouri and central Kansas. South of that warm front, temperatures will be well into the 60s and 70s here across our southern viewing area, and to the north across our northern viewing area here on Thursday. We're going to be north of that warm front here, a lot of those easterly winds, and we're going to be seeing temperatures held down into the 30s and 40s for highs up there as we go into Thursday. And then that front clears the area as we go into Friday, and a lot of us start to cool down across our entire viewing area by the 15th. Temperatures to the north up here into the Dakotas and Minnesota will be in the 30s and 40s, and 50s and 60s further to the south. Now, as we go into the early week time frame, we're keeping an eye on our storm track as well. So like looking at early week, pretty benign weather pattern. You have more of that zonal flow from west to east, so not much happening early on this week. Notice the divot in the jet stream as we go in towards the midweek time frame, centered around Wednesday the 13th of March. We have a long wave trough, a positively tilted trough out west. That will kick up a new storm system, and that will be more of a cutoff low back down across the desert southwest. So that means for us in the north central states, we're going to be kind of caught in between weather systems late in the week with a colder push of air towards that Friday time frame behind that cold front. So what does this mean for our precipitation? So on the 11th on Monday, fairly dry across most of our viewing area. And then as we go into Tuesday, same thing. Can't rule out a couple sprinkles up here into southern or central North Dakota. But other than that, very dry across the north central states. It's by the time we get to Wednesday, midweek, we see a low pressure start to develop off the front range back toward the Rockies. Heavier snows back there. Some rainfall kicking off across portions of the Dakotas into western Nebraska there and even western Kansas later in the day on Wednesday. That will spread east Wednesday night with some thunderstorm activity, and we have to keep an eye on the northern edge of this instability axis as we could be seeing those 900 to 1,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE, that convective available potential energy, shifting further north into Kansas and western Missouri on Wednesday. And you can see that going into Thursday time frame. You can see a stalled boundary out here with that temperature gradient we're talking about, with some colder rain, some thunderstorm activity along that from Chicago back through Des Moines there and St. Louis all the way back toward Kansas City, Lincoln, Nebraska. The snow will start to fly perhaps across our western viewing area into western Nebraska, northwestern Kansas there with some wet snowflakes on Thursday. And looking at Thursday's setup, we'll have to keep an eye on Missouri, especially there even into southern Illinois. We have more of those instability values up to around 1,000, 1,500 joules per kilogram Thursday afternoon and evening. And then as we go into Friday, we see that clear out. We have another system moving in from Canada, more of a clipper system, bringing a mix of rain and snow to Minnesota and the Dakotas during that time frame. And that will also bring down our cooler air in the wake of our cold front late week as well. Looking at our total precipitation in inches from Monday the 11th through Friday the 15th, essentially all of next work week, you can see a decent swath of some healthy rains here from eastern Colorado back here through portions of Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri there into Kansas, and then Illinois. The Illinois Valley seeing some decent rains as well. To the north, our northern viewing area, probably not seeing a lot of rain from this through the Dakotas, Minnesota, or Wisconsin. The UP of Michigan, not really seeing a lot of precipitation, but there still could be areas that could see a quarter to half an inch as we go through next work week time frame. And you can see our total snowfall amounts will be few and far between. It is towards the middle of March after all, but I wouldn't be surprised to see some 1 to 2 inch amounts in some grassy surfaces across western Nebraska or northwestern Kansas through next week with those wet snowflakes as that cold air advection comes down on the backside of that storm system. Now looking ahead to our long range forecast here across the north central states as we go into the following week. This is Monday the 18th of March through Friday the 22nd of March. A big pattern flip we'll be pursuing as we go into that time frame. We have a trough out east and a ridge developing out west, and we're kind of right in between that here in the north central United States. And when we're right between that, normal to below normal temperatures will likely be favored during that third week into March, and our precipitation will also be near normal to slightly below normal in spots as well as we go into that time frame. So a pretty benign weather pattern as we go into that third week there into March through the long range forecast. So we'll keep an eye on that as we do get closer. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you like these weather forecasts for North Central Weather Center. Also be sure to press the like button down below. It helps to get all of these weather videos passed along to more and more people. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow on Monday, and then we'll do it again Wednesday and Friday and the weekend if needed here during those bigger weather events. As I said, this is Hunter from North Central Weather Center. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody.